I'm Ann O'Malley, class of '88, married to Tim Yarder. So that night, we got home to my mom's house at about 10 o'clock at night, and we imagined that everything we owned had been destroyed because we figured that the windows in our apartment probably would have blown in. And I realized I didn't really care about any of our stuff, but I realized that our life was gone, our community was gone. I've lived and worked in the shadows of the World Trade Center for 9 years. The Trade Center let off such a light that when I got up to feed my babies at night, I didn't need a night light because we could see from that light of those buildings. And our daughter used the Winter Garden of the World Financial Center as her backyard, and we often commented, wouldn't it be funny if she had a career in finance and she came and worked in this building or in this neighborhood and could tell people that this is where she played? And we thought, it's a huge landmark. It'll be here when she grows up. Won't that be funny? And it's surreal to us that it's gone now. It literally has destroyed our lives, both my work life and our home life. On the work side, I work for American Express, which is directly across the West Side Highway from the World Trade Center. By September 15th, we'd already signed new leases on offices in Stamford, Connecticut, Parsippany, New Jersey, and Short Hills, New Jersey. So suddenly people, and we have many, many young people right out of college and business school who live in Manhattan and worked in this beautiful building in Manhattan. Everyone was suddenly given a choice of either work from home, which is really not feasible if you live in a shoebox Manhattan apartment, or endure this, sort of a 2-hour commute in each direction, which is not what anyone paying Manhattan rent had signed up for. On the personal front, of course, our personal life has been even more disrupted than my work life. Our focus has been to try to create as normal a life as possible for our 3-year-old daughter who witnessed all these events. So we've moved in with my sister in Long Island because she has 2 young daughters, and so she has a house full of clothes, books, toys, and friends to try to rebuild some semblance of a normal life for my daughter. And I've actually started working out of their basement. And not to sound superficial or to make light of all the people who've been even more impacted by this than us, but as you can imagine, inserting one family of 4 into a house of another family of 4 with completely different parenting styles, bedtimes, rules about food, television, etc., it makes for some stress and tension-filled moments. And then particularly with me there trying to work all day and literally tying up the phone line for hours at a time, it's a stressful situation. And on top of trying to go through our daily lives with work and then with taking care of the children, we are at the same time trying to wrap up our old life and build a new life. In terms of wrapping up our old life, we have, as everyone in our neighborhood, had to go through the process of making the decision, do you stay or do you leave? There's a big faction of people, and we had a wonderful, wonderful, you wouldn't think it in the financial district, but there was an incredible community, and in fact, a very family-oriented community in Battery Park City. So there's one faction of people who say, we can't let these terrorists steal our lives and take our community away. We need to stay and fight. And then there's another side of, for many, many reasons, the community's already gone and we just can't, if you just look at, practically, the subway is gone, the stores are gone, all of that, emotionally and mentally, do you want to look out at the site of this horrible tragedy, especially when so many of us were there to witness it that day? And then pragmatically, it's going to be a construction zone for 5 years, who knows? And more disturbingly, as more and more time goes by, more and more information comes out about all these toxins that were in the air and that continue to be emitted as these fires continue to burn. And so largely for that reason, with 2 small children, we've decided that we cannot move back to that neighborhood that we loved. We mentioned the stuff in our apartment. We've each been back to the apartment once to see it, and our stuff is all still there, but it is covered with this dust, which includes asbestos, many, many other toxins, and of course human remains. And now we're in the process, we have to fight with the insurance company because they basically think we can salvage everything. We had one jacket that we'd taken out and washed, and I put it on my 6-month-old baby, and he had a rash within 45 minutes. So pretty much after that, we've decided we have to throw away everything in the apartment, other than, maybe the wooden furniture. And at the same time, then, we're starting to look, to build a new life. We think we're going to buy a house out in New Jersey where my office is now, but, we're now taking on all the stresses of, shopping for a house, making bids on houses and all of that on top of everything else we're dealing with, and of course with all the uncertainties in the world and the economy right now. In the immediate aftermath of September 11th, we were just so grateful to be alive and that we got our family out with not a scratch on us. But that's really all we were focused on. And of course, we remain grateful for that. But as more time goes by, the more you kind of take your physical health for granted, and the reality and the stress of basically living life as a war refugee becomes harder. And, we haven't had that feeling of comfort that you get when you go home for going on 2 months now. And it's going to be at least 2 months, if not significantly longer, before we have that feeling again.